Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Trans Talks. I am Solstice, and welcome. It is the goal of these talks to tell some stories. These stories come directly out of my own transition, and then turn right around and explain what I learned around that same time. Now, it is called Trans Talks from the Fringes, because while I am not opposed to the trans community, being in the trans community myself, I have not actually been in the community for the majority of my own transition. I happen to enjoy being on the fringes of the community and of society. But if you happen to like this kind of content, these stories, and the discussions that we have here, please go ahead and watch this video all the way to the end. Give it a like, and let's see where this goes. Video, it was detailed that I was in a small town. It was relatively conservative, and because I have not actually met a trans person before, and the majority of the community said stay away from this town, the town themselves was pretty vocally hostile and agreeing with the majority of the anti-trans everything that you see going on in the nation today. That is until I came out and I had some pretty decent conversations, pretty decent and respectful conversations with these people. But while I was there, I did have an opportunity to look at the society that I just happened to be a part of, even on the fringes, the community, even though I was on the fringes, and gain a little bit of perspective on this entire thing. What might potentially be at play here? Now, for the majority of us here, we all understand that, trolls are going to be out there. Trolls are going to troll, period. What doesn't actually help is when the narrative goes ahead and tells us, or tells the people, the masses, shall we say, that these people who are breaking all of these norms are the enemy. An even bigger question, an even more relevant question, would be, why are you so afraid? What's the danger? The danger just so happens to be wrapped in gender roles. As a commenter pointed out, the entire thing comes all the way back down to the ability to make babies. Now, again, this is all my speculation. This is all my opinion here, so please take that with a grain of salt. If a person is willing to give up their perceived womanhood or manhood, what does that ultimately mean about the concept, the notion of manhood or womanhood? Keep in mind, the majority of societal identity comes right back down to the concept of man and woman. We trans people are not a threat to anyone by any stretch of the definition. Again, we just want to live our lives and to be happy, just like everybody else. But for some, the idea that we were willing to give up our perceived notion of manhood or womanhood is beyond... what is the word? I don't know. It'll come to me at some point, I swear. I remember when I first came out as trans, I was called a threat to my face, along with a lot of other expletives. That is something we are not. The only way that I can see that we could potentially be a threat is in the idea that we just want to live our lives, just like everybody else. And the notion that those who stand to lose something if a person like us happens to live our lives in peace may lose something. And perhaps that's just another type of threat that not many people can live with. The idea, the goal, the The idea, the goal. The idea, the goal. Trans talk is to... Why are we not... Shit. Is it because I'm not close enough to the lights? These stories come directly out of my own It is the goal of these talks to...